talking about what we were talking about right before we started, which is mindset.
Yeah.
For me, everything is mindset.
Yeah.
So even like looking back on those moments, those were the most exciting, right? Those were the most thrilling. It's like, how do I navigate my way through these waters?
So
And
where does that come
how do I
from?
leave people? What impact do I want to leave on everyone that I spend time with, even when it's going rough, or even when we don't agree, or even when we're not getting along? How do I want the other person left?
Are you ready to get down to earth? It's Raven Hernandez. Let's do it.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, sister.
I know. I'm so excited to chat. We were just bonding over all things health. And I mean, if we had organic tequila, then we'd be really rocking and rolling. But unfortunately, today we have our green juice and our Olipop.
And our tonic pops.
Yeah, we'll still have fun. But I want to get into it, just jump right in, because I know that you were on Days of Our Life. And
oh my God, yes.
I know that's like, it's such a big thing. Like that was a very pinnacle time in history, really. Is the like true like soap operas. Like those really held a place in a lot of people's heart.
It really did. It was really boot camp for me as an actor.
Oh, I can imagine.
I did a lot of work before that, but it wasn't until Days of Our Lives that I was like, this is what you do.
Because it's a lot. It's like back to back, right?
Pages.
Oh my gosh.
So much dialogue to be ready the very next day.
How many pages?
Up to 30.
30 pages in like a day?
They were adamant about you being off book.
Really?
So if you missed a word, they would stop you in the middle of the speech, shut down the whole set. It's I instead of I'm. And you're like,
come on. Like, really, is it worth it?
It was like that. And that particular set was a little wild.
Okay.
There was a lot of girls. And
a lot of beautiful girls.
A lot of beautiful girls.
Smart girls, young girls.
Yeah, and they didn't particularly love my storyline.
Okay.
So it made it for a very adventurous, sort of desperate housewives, sort of mean girls environment. And
really?
So
like real life?
Oh, yeah. I was like navigating my way around, wow, I actually have never experienced this in Hollywood ever with women, because I'm just such a puppy dog.
Yeah.
I love everyone. I'm always wagging my tail.
Yeah.
Hi, you're so pretty. Like just when I walked in now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you are stunning, girl.
But I'm sure you hold your own too. Like, I'm sure if somebody pushes you around, you push back.
I do. I think in the last, things have been different as of late. I've recognized my softer, more sensitive, more vulnerable, more victim side.
You're like leaning into it.
Like I'm leaning into it. My shadow side, which is like, oh, that was rough. But yes, I definitely have a lot of chutzpah. And what is this?
Oh, just some fun water.
Thank you so much.
It's flat as well.
I thought he was like making good on this tequila.
Like, let's do this. We both are getting full tequila drinks right now. Cheers.
Like, that was a cheers.
Let's get down to earth.
Is there something we're supposed to plug here? What is this? Oh, nice.
It's just a favorite water from, of course, the favorite place in the world. As you know, Erewhon. So, okay, so the ladies were kind of
it was
catty.
It was just a wild catty environment.
Was it because everyone was trying to get ahead, or was it because it was just like there's just so much going on and there's so much estrogen and kind of power, and like what was the dynamic of meanness?
Good questions. For me, looking back, it was just really boredom. I think those girls, they were all locked into really long contracts.
Yeah.
And this is the new me that's willing to talk about it all.
Yeah, because you're a producer now. Like you're doing your own thing. You've got projects, so you can kind of like let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, because I've spent my entire life and career making everything shiny and pretty and perfect.
Yes.
And that's not life. That's not reality.
No.
And so, for me, it was that they had long contracts. They were young.
Yeah.
They were privileged. They had a huge amount of, what's the word, entitlement, right? And they just hated the storyline. And who knows, what if I was that same girl and I was locked into this show and I was bored and I hated the storyline. We're like, let's get this actress out of here real quick.
Yeah.
So I think
you
it was
come
just
in and it's like you get to do whatever you want in a sense. Like you're not locked down.
I was I was the host of my own reality show on the show called Love is Blind.
Yeah.
So I was, and now there's a show called Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Which is like, and so.
Is that from?
I don't know if they did that or
little...
not. Maybe. I mean, it was really fun and funny.
You were the OG.
Yeah, but the girls just didn't want to go out on all the dates and have to date all their cast members, and so they sent me off to Europe. When I went and let them know, it was just, I don't think this is a good fit. I'm having a blast here, but, so they wrote my character off to Europe so that I could, come back. And I did a few times.
What did you end up doing immediately after that?
Oh, God, that's a good question, too. I really should have looked at my resume. I have this interesting thing in my life where I think it's like high mercury toxicity. I'm like, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, we're about to get into the health vibes.
Was it Meet Dave? Was it Criminal Minds? Was it Bones? Was it Mentalists?
You were just like, go.
I was just doing shows.
Because you're from originally New York, right? Brooklyn.
Originally, yeah. But my dad moved us when I was a kid to Temecula, California.
Okay, so you're definitely, you got like the little bit of NY vibe, but you're Cali.
Yeah, and I've been back.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time in New York.
What's your favorite borough?
I mean, I love Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And we're originally from Brooklyn Heights, and I just think that's such a OG part of the city. It's so
I don't
good.
honestly, like, New York is just there's just so much and so little. Like, that's what's confusing to me. It's like...
What do you mean by so little?
In the sense of it's not a big space. So you go to Brooklyn, but then, like, when you're in Brooklyn, you're in different cities within Brooklyn.
Boroughs,
you know what I mean? So it's like...
I kind of feel like LA's like that, though.
It is, but they're bigger. Brentwood's bigger. Santa Monica's bigger. Like, West Hollywood proper, it's like bigger part. Like, it's... True. It's like more...
It's more
defined.
Intimate. It has an intimacy, and things shift
as soon as you get over. Yeah, it's like, I know
right.
I am over here now. So...
Yeah, I mean, I miss parts of New York. I wouldn't want to live there again, or I don't want to currently.
Yeah.
I love, like, the accessibility and
the
just
walkability.
There's so much, like, walkability. There's just so much happening all the time. It's just so fun to visit.
How do you feel about the subway?
I love it.
Yeah?
I still do it. I was just there. I was in London on the subway. None of my friends will go on the subway. I'm always riding the subway.
I will say that
you don't like it.
It's just that, like, you walk right up to it and it feels like my pores are, like, getting clogged. You know what I mean? Like, it, like, hits me and I'm just like, oh.
See, girl, I like that natural immunity. I like bring all the germs into my world.
That's the Evie lover in me, right? It's like, oh my God, I can smell I can, when I'm in a friend's gas car, I can smell the gas. It's like, it's not a big deal, whatever.
I'm sensitive too, like
but
that.
I can, like, definitely feel it. I can definitely feel it. Okay, so you went back and forth. You've shot a lot in both
just
cities.
all over. I mean, I've been blessed. I did a movie in Italy. I got cast in LA to shoot an Italian film and be an Italian and speak Italian.
And you are Italian.
Well, I'm half.
Your ethnicity.
On my mom's side, and my father is Sicilian.
You get
Italian,
the best of both worlds.
He's got some, West African roots in there too. And yes, and so, where were we at?
Oh, we're in Italy. We're literally, it's funny.
Shot my first nudity because I was like, when am I going to do it? If not now,
when? Yeah.
Print it.
Yeah.
Let's get it printed. Let's have it forever.
Oh, so you did a shoot, like a photo.
I got cast in a film. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Elegantly shot.
I was just asking my friend last night about what's it like as an actress, like doing intimate scenes. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. It's just a lot. And I was like,
I love it all.
You do?
I love it all.
What if the guy's like not
the
attractive?
Uncomfortable moments. For me, that's where all the juice is.
That's like where it lives.
That's where all the good stuff
is. Is it worse or better if the guy is attractive? Like, would you rather him not be attractive, or is it easier?
I mean, I think it's easier when they're attractive.
Yeah.
Like, if their breath doesn't smell, I think it's much easier.
Even better. It's like the pinto, as long as your breath doesn't smell.
When you talked about, like, you got some hard edges, right? You must have some, that's where I have my edges. Where I'm like, I become a little director. Like, here, put this in your mouth. We're about to kiss, so here's some mints.
Yeah.
And so my little director pops in. It's like,
what are we putting in our mouth? Literally.
I don't want to
put what?
Yeah, so that's where my little director comes out. It's like, okay, here's this mint for you.
Yeah.
We're about to do this. And I feel like the last one, the boy was so young. That was interesting because he was very,
like
stiff
timid
and cold, and we had to really go for it.
Yeah.
So
did you help him get loosened up?
Oh, of course I did.
Naturally.
My very best.
What did you do? Give him a mint?
I gave him a mint. I might have smacked him with my chest a little bit.
Like, let's
body
do it. Yeah, like wake up. Let's have fun. Like, forget it.
Yeah, I was just like, we were like two puppies, like roughhousing.
I just feel like if I was making out with somebody on camera, I feel like I would have to get into it enough to like be into it. But then it's like, and like I don't know, like cut, you know, and it's like what I'm halfway through making out with somebody, you know what I mean? Like, and I have to start back all over again.
You want to keep making out, and then sometimes you really just want to run.
Yeah.
There's all different.
You just start over again, and it's just like every time.
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
It's a muscle,
Sometimes there's like a gazillion shots, and if you're doing a lower budget production, then they, you know, try to get it in 2 takes.
But Days of Our Life, if you don't say the word "I" right,
if you don't say it, then they shut you down.
Literally.
And it was, you know, all of it looking back, it's all a thrill ride, right? Like none of it's negative. Like I could sit here and say, wow, that was hard. That was challenging. There were a lot of obstacle courses. But talking about what we were talking about right before we started, which is mindset. Yeah. For me, everything is mindset. Yeah. So even like looking back on those moments, those were the most exciting, right? Those were the most thrilling. It's like, how do I navigate my way through these waters? And
so where does that come from?
How do I leave people? What impact do I want to leave on everyone that I spend time with, even when it's going rough, or even when we don't agree, or even when we're not getting along? How do I want the other person left? So I really, you know, for me, it's really about what impact? What are the impacts? What is my communication? How do I leave someone? And so I've spent a lot of time studying, you know, accountability and responsibility and integrity. Just, you know, I made a lot of mistakes as a kid coming up, and I'm grateful for all of that stuff. I mean, that's why the shadow work is so important. It's like looking back and loving yourself through all of it, and knowing like, okay, I could have said this, or I could have done more, or I could have done less. But all of it for me is a thrill.
Who are you practicing with shadow work? Do you have a practitioner that you study?
I really love that book, Existential Kink.
Okay.
I can't think of the writer's name right now. Maybe Peter can look it up for us. Existential Kink.
Yeah. So
good. You haven't read it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to read it. It'll change everything. It'll blow your world up.
Yeah.
It really made me look at a lot of things that people could feel victimized by. It helps you look at it through a different lens.
So I've done one session with a practitioner of shadow work, and it's like really intense.
It's intense.
It's like super intense. Carolyn Elliott.
Thank you, Carolyn Elliott. You're our girl. Thank you for writing Existential Kink.
Yeah.
You're a badass.
I can't wait to read it.
It's helped a lot of people.
I love it. Yeah, no, I've done it, it was like a 90-minute session. I did it in Austin. At this woman's place, and she was also like probably going through some stuff too. And I feel like I'm such a very, like I'm like a legitimate empath in the sense of like I was feeling her stuff in the room, which was a little bit heavy as well, because like I can feel her relating my things to her things in her mind, and like in the energy vortex. And so then I'm
processing like, wow, I'm downloading a lot of what she's giving me right now. Yeah, that's so the tricky thing about working with someone else. And with Existential Kink, she has an EK practice. Okay. So it's just all stuff that you're disciplined and motivated to get in and dig in and do yourself. And
it's also though tough for me to do things myself too, because I have to set the time aside to do it. Yeah. Which I'm sure you
super
can.
A type. What's your sign?
Yeah, I'm a Leo.
Yeah,
8/8.
So you're just
like
going.
Very much so the king of the jungle in my brain.
That's right.
Even though it's like just in my brain, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like
so
it's
taking
very
the time for you and being like patient and sitting still, like the meditation time is your.
If I can actually find it, then it's like amazing. But I find it a lot when I'm driving, which is funny now that I own Earth, right? Like. I always found solace in long car rides. So I've driven all over the United States.
I do too. Is that where you're listening to your Audible books and stuff?
Well, no, I was always listening to music and talking in my head. Okay. Right. So I would like put on an album. Like anytime I'm the kind of person that I don't like to listen to a new album album when everyone's still talking about it.
Yeah.
So like if something comes
you're not
out,
a follower.
well, yeah, and it's also like I don't want them to sway. I need to take this in when the rest of the world all collectively, energetically isn't taking it in. You know, I want it to almost be like forgotten a little bit.
Own thing.
Yeah, I want it to I want to feel it for what I think it is, not for what everybody is like. Oh, this is the best song on the album, and then it's like so you go straight to that song and you expect it. Yeah, you want to like figure that stuff out on your own.
I like that about you.
Yeah, and that's the card time is like finding that, like listening through it and thinking about how it makes you feel. I love music. I saw you sing too.
Yes. That's my song. That's my. Oh my God.
Okay, who would you say are like the 3 people that like your vibes and your music kind of stem from? Oh my
goodness, girl, you're coming up with all the questions.
I have one person. So if you want me to start, who I think there was some.
Okay, good. We have.
Okay, I'll start as
everyone
one.
Used to say Kelly Clarkson was like
Jewel.
Jewel?
Yeah, there was some you know, it wasn't as deep of like that, you know, country rock, whatever, because you have like pop flair to it, but it was very much so soul-y. There was like soul-y undertones.
I like that's a huge compliment. Yeah, she is amazing.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was really inspired by all the men, you know, growing up, and I loved Stevie Wonder, and my dad, I was into all my dad's jams, like Cat Stevens and, you know, Prince. Like, I just couldn't get enough. And
I can't believe, did you know that Motown found Stevie Wonder at like 7?
No.
7.
I did not know that.
Like he was a baby.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Fun fact
Barry
of the
Gordy
day.
and like Marvin Gaye or something. I don't know. Yeah.
And just started working with him?
Like having me in the studio, and he would jump from, he already was a maven. He would like jump from, say between like 7 and 11, and he would just go from like instrument to instrument. Everybody's just like, what is happening?
I love
like,
that.
So cool.
Prince was like that too, right? He was like,
I think
26 instruments.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
No, I can't.
Like my heart.
I tried everything all the time.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have that mathematical musicianship. Like love music, good at tunes, at melodies, at writing hooks.
You're a writer. You're a writer. Yeah. Yeah.
And putting that to music was natural, but playing instruments was not my thing. I mean, my dad, I grew up with a guitar in my hand.
Yeah.
Every year I had a new guitar, new size, a small one, a big one. He tried everything. Yes. And the keys. And like everything? And I can tinker.
I really want my kids to know how to play the violin.
Same.
Yeah.
That's my instrument.
Yeah. It's really? You know how to play?
No, I don't.
But in general, it's like
in general, that's the instrument.
It's a good
that,
instrument.
Like, makes me open.
Yeah.
Cracks my soul.
And you just kind of like, you go into it. You really go into it.
So 3 artists. So you were going to say, now I need to hear who I reminded you of.
So Jewel was the first one. That was what I said. What are the 2 you say?
Well, I used to get Kelly Clarkson a lot.
That's one.
Like that. I have that range.
Yeah.
I record really young.
Okay.
So I was always being picked to do like Disney songs, you know, write some spec songs for Ramona and Beezus and all the Disney stuff because my voice sounds really young.
Yeah.
I had some placements on like films called Opposite Day.
Opposite Day.
I ended up landing like the opening soundtrack song and the closing title song.
I would
which was really cool.
love to be a Disney. I would still do it. Like if they were like,
you
want me to
Disney
be a princess, I would love to. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. Yes. Like literally,
you look like
it's so much
princess.
fun because it's just like spoken word almost. You know, like every Cinderella, Pocahontas song, like all of them are very much so just spoken word with the same melody. Yes. So it's not like that. I feel like there are ranges of people who do it really good and people who just do it good, you know?
I think it's all a discipline. It's like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Really?
How often are you going to practice?
How often are you going to practice? How much time are you going to put in? How much passion? How much intensity? How much ferocity?
Okay, so as a kid, you would try and play all these instruments.
Oh my God.
But then acting, did that come on
that was my
earlier?
Thing. That was my thing. My dad said that I was like 3 years old looking at the TV and was like, Daddy, what is that? Who is that? How do I get inside of there?
Yeah.
And he's like, and he was trying to explain it to me. He's like, those are actors. And I said, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be inside of there.
Yeah.
He said I was a little kid saying that year after year. And his favorite show was I Love Lucy.
Okay.
So, of course, I watched it.
Yeah.
I'm Daddy's girl all the way. Daddy raised me. So I would just, veg out on Lucille Ball, and sort of she was the woman that made me see what women could be. That zany, like I I am so facetious in my life. It's got me into trouble, really.
Yeah.
Because I make fun of everything
And then,
in order to deal with the tragedies of my life. Because life is a tragedy.
A little bit.
And lately, it's been real tragic. So I use comedy for myself to play and make fun. And sometimes it's making fun of serious subjects.
Yeah.
When really, I'm just making life palatable for myself. Right?
Have you written any comedy?
Comedy? Oh my God, yeah. I did stand up. I was doing a stand up.
Where at?
Round. Oh my God, I started at the Melrose Hollywood Improv.
Yeah.
And then I got scouted by the Comedy Store, and then I was doing the Comedy Store, and they asked me back every week, and I didn't have enough sets. I was like, no, I cannot keep doing this one tired set over and over.
Yeah.
My friends would come, and I felt like such a fraud. I'm like, this one set is really funny. They want me to be here all the time.
Give me one of the, I'm at the Comedy Store in front row. Give me just a little bit. Do it like half. Do it like half, Matt.
No, I can't. I feel like that comedy was some of the stuff that's got me into my current bouts of
nonsense.
Nonsense. To all the men I've loved before. If I've loved you once, I love you now.
Yeah.
I still love you. And that's not part of my comedy. That's actually me saying, hey, if I've ever made fun of serious subjects, I love you. I didn't mean to. I'm just trying to express myself in my life.
Also, don't be a baby.
Yeah, don't be a baby. Get over it. I'm only a phone call away. Call me up. We can heal anything, anytime. We can talk about anything.
We can talk about anything. Anytime.
Anything. There's no off topic. And sometimes, you know what I feel like today is that hashtag Me Too.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Okay.
Had its place in time.
Yeah.
And I also feel like there's been a lot of setbacks because of it.
Just like in the way men are treating women, because it's like, oh no, now you're dangerous, and now maybe
right.
you can get me in trouble or something like that.
I feel like it's really incredibly hard for people from our pasts to be able to just apologize, because I feel like for the most part, most women, we have an ability to heal a lot, to heal ourselves, and to be compassionate, and to understand, and to forgive. I mean, that's how I find my process. And I think most of the women in my life are all very similar. And an apology would go a huge, long distance.
Yeah, well, women are intelligent creatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
emotionally intelligent.
In general. Yeah. Just like all the ways.
Have to be.
Our bodies are more intelligent than our brains in that sense.
That's right.
You literally, I've watched so many like videos of, like maybe still pictures of like women having birth in different ways, and like it just comes right out. It literally it's like there's no like pushing, like this lie that we've been like, oh, it's very traumatic, very difficult. Like there are times and things, and like don't take away from that, but have we made it more difficult than we need to versus like just like bearing down and being within, and that's kind of like what you're getting to earlier in the sense of like, taking the time to kind of withdraw, right?
Yes.
It's like that's
taking the time to go inside and spend some time with your inner world and make sure that she's in alignment with your outer world.
When did you find your inner world?
Oh my goodness.
Like, do you remember being a child, like having an inner world?
Oh my God, this is a healing ceremony we're in right now. I feel some purchase coming up.
Oh my gosh.
When did I find my healing? This is such... Okay, great.
Yeah, we're about to have a little
water.
trip.
It's just a Aya splash water.
It's just infused. It's just, like rose petal ayahuasca infused.
Ayahuasca infused water. I love it. You just created a brand new brand. A brand new brand.
Actually.
That came out really funny. I had a lot of extreme anxiety as a young girl because of from whence I came. My parents separated when I was really young, and my father took me at 3. My mom left, my dad got me, and there was like this transition phase where I was bouncing around from house to house, and so I grew up with a lot of anxiety, like the kind where I needed to go to the hospital, the emergency room.
Because of the anxiety?
Yeah. And we'd always think like I was having a heart attack, or there was, some major, they thought I had leukemia.
What were your symptoms as a child?
It was just panic. Like I couldn't breathe.
Really? Would anything be set on, or would you literally just be living life?
I don't know. I mean, back then, if I really think about it now, it's like, the mother. It was all around the mothering and the absence of mother.
Naturally.
Yeah, and really just not knowing my place in the world and not feeling safe.
Yeah.
And even when the new environment with, he remarried my stepmother, who's a brilliant woman, we didn't sort of bond as mother-daughter, and she had 2 daughters. And so I just think navigating that part of life was really sensitive. And I think I saw a lot when I was very young, like those really formative years. I ingested a lot of tumultuous, wild stuff. And even though my little brain didn't really know exactly what it was, my body was processing trauma. And so I'd be in and out of hospitals. And so when I came to LA, which I left home early, I was like 15 when I got here. I got a call from my younger sister, who I didn't know really existed, and my birth mother saying, like, hi, I'm your sister, and me and your mom really want to meet you.
Where were they?
We're living in LA. Yeah, and I I was in Corona, Temecula.
And you're
area.
15, 16?
14 turning 15.
Yeah.
When I got that call. So I
Did
came up to
you have
LA.
a car? Did you drive?
No, at the time I had a friend.
Okay.
A boyfriend.
You always, I know. I would say by the time I was 16, I was out of the house, and I'd always been just running around, just having fun.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
Too.
This is how I get to drink green versus tequila today.
Yeah.
It's because I did that. I had fun.
I actually didn't.
You didn't? You didn't party?
No, I was clean. I was weird, frigid, clean. I didn't do anything. I tried puffing one cigarette. It was awful for me. I was allergic. I coughed. I was like, thank you for letting me try. This is disgusting.
Yeah. That's why your skin looks so good. You know what I mean? It's like
I love
the gods knew.
The gods knew. Like, you know what? Stay away from it. I didn't drink or try anything until I was in my 30s.
Really?
Yes.
But that's cool too. That's cool because then you get to your young, formative years where you're really trying to set yourself and really you need to be focusing and getting ahead. So then when you're in 30, 40, 50, 60s, if you start drinking later on, how much have you already accomplished to then enjoy the drinking versus drinking because you're stressed? You know what I mean? I feel
you got
sometimes people maybe they drink too soon. Maybe drinking is a later stage life game.
I would completely agree with that. You're
30, 40, and then maybe take a break, and then late 60s, 70s, take
just
a break.
Have fun.
Yeah, just accomplish things, drink. Accomplish things, be on an island.
Yeah.
So much drinking.
Yeah. I always have a story running that when I'm in my 60s, 70s, 80s is when I'm going to have some real debaucherous good times.
Yeah.
Like that fat chocolate cake.
Who cares?
I'm going to eat that fat chocolate cake.
I mean, you're going to do more than eating
that fat chocolate cake now.
Cake though, right?
What?
You're going to do more than eat chocolate cake?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
I want to try it all.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm ready to try things now. It's just, it's not presenting itself yet.
No. Well, I
still
you need to be in the right environment to also not care. I lived on the islands and
what
people,
islands?
Just random islands in Central America.
Oh, nice. Give me one.
En Bastimentos in Bocas del Toro, which is in Panama.
The way you say it, can you say it one more time?
Bastimentos in Bocas del Toro in Panama.
Go ahead.
Muy bonita.
Were you surfing?
No, everyone thinks I did not
If
surf.
you're there in Panama, you should be
But
surfing.
what I did do was a lot of other dope stuff.
Okay. Plant medicines and all of it.
Well, no, just run around barefoot with the island boys and just run around the jungle and be with the Indians and just would jump on boats. They'd run up to my dock at 8 in the morning. Hey, Raven, you want to go on the boat? I'm like, let's do it, whatever.
That's
I'm literally in. Yeah. Oh, so it's Rasa. It's it's a mixture. So people in Central America, especially in the islands, are going to speak almost 3 to 4 languages. So they'll speak a dialect of English, a broken down English, a broken down Spanish, and then their own dialect of Caribbean. So in Bastimentos, they speak Guari Guari. And then they sometimes will speak even another language. So kids there, I know women who would have a child with someone an island guy. Yeah. And they'd be French or Canadian or whatever. Let's say French, for instance. And so the child would speak French, English, Spanish, and Guari Guari.
Yes.
But of course they have no like proper education, right?
Right.
So it's like, oh my God. Yeah, languages. Literally. It's wild.
Incredible.
Like,
so how many languages do you speak?
Just 2. And Spanish even, like, sometimes I wish I spoke better.
Same.
I feel confident like when I'm in a casual setting to have a conversation, but I don't want to present in Spanish, you know what I mean?
I get it.
Like I couldn't have this conversation.
I know. So what are we doing? We need to go back to our Rosetta Stone or whatever it is.
Well, I use Duolingo. When I'm not busy.
Which one?
Duolingo. Have you heard of this?
Duolingo.
I love it.
I gotta get on Duolingo.
My abuela, Peter's mom uses it. We like to use it.
Is it playing games, right? There's
It's like learning lessons. And so it'll be like, okay, match, like it's maybe in a lesson maybe takes you 5 to 10 minutes. And like within that, there are different things that you do within that lesson. So it's all the same theme. So like, let's say it's, conjugating your verbs in the past tense. It'll have themes where it's like match these English and Spanish word. Okay, now read the sentence and choose the correct one. Okay, now
quizzes,
so like it's like little one questions on that one thing. So then it's very nice to just kind of boom, boom, boom through it. So when we live on the islands speaking Spanish,
we got time to do it.
We'll do it. We'll in our 60s.
Let's go.
In our 60s.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I got a lot to do still.
Yes. Oh, so I want to talk about that because you do have a lot to do. You're producing.
Yeah,
You've got
now.
The deep ones, new film intentional. You've got a lot of stuff going on. So I'd love to learn more about the deep ones and that project right now.
That was wild, you guys. It was just before COVID, and I was living in Ventura. I had this wild hair. I was trying to buy a house. I just sold my place.
You bought that house and then sold it within the pandemic.
So I bought my first place when I made my first monies at 30 years old in West Hollywood, right across from the Sunset Marquis.
So you've been building some equity.
Yes, and I gutted it and renovated it.
Good for
with the help from some friends.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of work, but I learned that whole process. It was so cool. And I want to do a lot more of that eventually. But so I sold that place, which is a mistake. You should always hold.
How long did you sell? When did you sell it?
3 years ago.
But you've had it for a little bit.
Yeah, I had it for a while.
You can always hold longer.
And it was a new broker. It was a new agent, and she was like a friend, and she was like, "Look, that you're never going to get a price like you're going to get right now. It's the highest of the market. You're going to get $1,000. All the whole. Did
it go higher?
So
as it always does.
And I was in my mind, I was like, I'm not really going to sell it because she's really not going to get that price for it.
Yeah.
And she got the price. So nobody told me how difficult it was going to be to buy my next house. Because I was more like a stated income loan situation. Yeah. So I went around, I was putting offers in all these houses, and I was having such a challenge. So I got frustrated, and I was like, you know what?
And you had already closed.
I had already closed.
Yeah.
And I was off, like I was going to go down to like North San Diego. I wanted to have like this hobby farm. I wanted land.
Hell yeah.
I wanted horses.
We couldn't find it though?
Some cows.
We're still here in LA?
A little bunny. No, so I got frustrated, and I ran to Ventura because I'm like, let me have my oceanfront jam.
Okay.
I want to live oceanfront, and of course Malibu and anything in LA is wildly expensive.
Yeah.
So I found this fat house in Ventura, oceanfront, and I went through a lot of money away on rent, but it was the time of my life.
Dope. I love that.
Yes, and we were there, and we're always joking about how, it would be an incredible location to make a movie. So I pitched it to this director that I really wanted to work with. He had I read a script of his that was so incredible, and I wanted that role, and it was just a bigger production. It needed a lot more cash. And so I said, let's do like a little Airbnb horror, creepy thriller.
Yeah.
And like literally 3 weeks later, he comes up with a script. Called The Deep Ones. It was called something else, and I made him change the name. I was like, that's too sci-fi and weird.
Yeah. And the name's good.
It's an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
It's really creepy. At first I said, no, I don't want to play the lead. I want to play the funny friend because I don't want to be responsible for being the lead in this creepy story. And there were some parts of the film shadow work that I didn't feel ready. And so he brings me the script. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this film. And so I start looking for the lead actress.
Yeah.
And then I get one of my best friends cast as the lead male, and he and the director sort of tag team conversation me and talk me into playing the lead. So I said, as soon as I said yes, the money comes together.
Nice.
And
did you shoot it at the Ventura house?
We shot
so could you like write some of that off?
We shot it. We didn't shoot it in the Ventura house.
Okay.
We shot it on those beaches. Yeah, we shot it on those beaches, and we rented some Airbnbs up the road from my house, and we shot it there. But it was just the most perfect location for a creepy creepy sci-fi thriller.
So he only does, H.P. Lovecraft only does creepy, like, scary stuff?
mean, they're very, aliens, monster-driven, and this director is obsessed, Chad, is just obsessed with building the monster. He spent most of the budget on creating this real live monster that he could bring on the set and that I had to interact with.
Oh no. I only watched the trailer because I don't watch
tentacles
I can't watch scary movies. Like I started like watching scary movies maybe I was like 2 or 3, like seeing like
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like just like being around like
your parents, everybody let you.
Just like like being around my younger uncles and aunts. And so when I was hanging out with them, they would, and then at that point I was like, oh, I can't. You're
just terrorized.
Yeah, it's like no, I don't. I remember one of the first ones that really stuck out to me that I was like, oh, was People in the Stairs. Do you remember that?
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
So
Could you imagine as like a 3 or 4 year, like 2 to 4 was in that, like probably 3 to 4 to 5.
Well, When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah,
Get out of the house.
I mean, I like those movies are sketch. Like I don't. Yeah. And so now though, I don't even like to do like cartel movies.
See,
like the Sicario, the boom, boom. I'm like, no, it's happening.
Women are the biggest audience for horror films.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the fact.
Who are the strong women?
Statistically, women are because
why?
Because the psychology behind it is that we want to figure out how we would get out of creepy situations. And so we kind of need to see ourselves and the heroine of the film get through it and survive it and thrive it.
Yeah, so I feel like the heroine of my own film who's gotten through scary stuff. So like I don't need to do it in a movie. I'm literally like I like to watch like This Is Us and Blackish and Modern Family. Like if I'm watching TV, I will put on a sitcom and let it chill in the background because I don't like to watch TV anyways. Like I'm not like a person who like sits down. Like I'll find a show that I'll get into, and when I can, Handmaid's Tale. You know, it's like when I can watch it, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, but it's like that's so good. I didn't watch the last season of Stranger Things, but like 3, the one that just came out. I didn't watch it.
I only watched the first season.
I didn't like it. It was demons and stuff.
Yeah, there were a lot of things in the walls.
Watching demons.
So you asked me about H.P. Lovecraft. It's kind of like that.
Demons-y.
Like demons and like more aliens and tentacles and
that's kind of cooler than demons.
You're calling me out on the fact that I didn't do a lot of H.P. Lovecraft
research.
I didn't
because we already know what we like.
Ask me this question right now. I was producing the film. I cast it. I did craft services. I was the cleaner. I was the lead actress in every frame of the movie. I had to do everything, writing the contracts, raising the monies.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So you raised some of the money for the film?
I raised it, and we made it. Girl, we made this movie for I want to say $60,000.
Really?
And we sold it for 10 times the amount that we made it for. And we had a bidding war. Yeah. And we got a theatrical release.
Oh my gosh.
And it was one of the first movies to hit the theaters as soon as COVID was done. So we were, not only were we they did this whole like drive-in push, which was so cool.
So
like
cool.
This culty classic. Let's go see a creepy movie in the drive-in. And then it was in all the theaters first time out. So it was really cool to get to go and see the film. And we were holding on to this content during a time when nobody could film. So it was it couldn't be more impeccable timing to get to have this piece of art. So it's kind of, it's shoestring budget. It's creepy. I think we did a great job with the resources we had.
I love that.
It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it now.
I guess my question to you then is like, who the hell do you think you are accomplishing all your goals and like crushing it?
I love you. That was great the way you just put that. Like you are my sister for sure.
Like
for
you're
real.
doing it. And that's what's so cool because there's a lot of, I feel like people in general who look at what creative like people do. But you're beyond creative, right? Yeah. You're a businesswoman.
Oh my God.
Like, yes, you're creative and you have a craft, but even an actress, even though that person is creative, it's a business. And actors like the best ones have to understand that you've got to come ready to perform that day and then have everything else teed up and like have everything separate and compartmentalized just like a CEO or anyone else. You know what I mean?
Thank you for getting it, for deeply recreating that.
Yeah.
You did. You see it. You feel it. You know it. Thank you.
Yes.
I feel completely seen by you right now. I am like you. And I'm a Capricorn. You're the Leo. We're like the counterparts. I'm the most ambitious in the the most ambitious in the zodiac. And that side, yeah, it's natural. It's like, for me, it's like, get it done. Don't think about it, just do. And then I kind of have to find my way through afterwards, you know. But what was your original question?
Well, no, I was just asking, like,
who the hell do you think you are to
and
actually
also,
do
like,
those
what
things?
part of the biz, like, what
It's
part of it all,
Mama,
like,
it's necessity.
Yeah, right. It's like, I've got to raise money. I've got to do this. I've got to do this.
If someone isn't giving me a job, and literally all chips stacked against me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested in underdog stories, and I am the underdog. You know, I always fell in this place where every time I booked a job, they said, "Is she Latin enough? What's her mother's maiden name?" Because we could get into trouble. You know, she's playing Maria Lopez. Is she Latin enough? And, you know, so being exotic in this industry was always that little bit of a hurdle for me. And so if someone wasn't, you know, I would audition against the best of them, but I would also audition against the white actors and then the brown actors. So I just early on was like, I'm not going to sit at home and wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that.
That I'm passionate about.
And I definitely relate to the whole, like, is she Latin enough? You know what I mean? I feel like coming from literally women who had been there.
Yes.
And then me being, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, everyone's like, well, where are you from?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, you know? And then it's like,
is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah. And then it's like, well, no, you know, my family's from Panama. So then therefore I grew up being like, I'm Panamanian. Like I'm Panamanian, you know, it was always like the thing.
Right.
But I don't know the first thing about being Panamanian. I'm not I'm American. So it was like, that's why I deferred. That's why I went and lived in the islands. Why I deferred from law school and went down there and lived for a year, because I was like, I need to understand what I've been connecting my life to this whole time, right? There's a story, and I had been there, you know, in the summers with family, but it was like, that's not like experiencing. And it was funny because once I got down there, I remember being there for maybe 3 months at that point, you know, 90 days and being like sad, as most travelers, I'm sure, have experienced. It's like, you go on the road, you know, you're gone for like a year or two. And there's this first, like, oh, like, there's no comfort. I have to create it. And everywhere I go, I have to create it within myself.
Well, that's right.
Right.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
Everywhere you have to be the one doing it and creating the safe space. And so it was like, I also was disappointed because I had pictured and imagined something in my head of what it meant to be Panamanian. I created a story, right? Like a very beautiful story.
Because we don't know.
You have no idea. And then you get there and it's like, oh, okay. I had to like put myself in a perspective, like, you came here to understand what it was like, not what you wanted it to be is what it was.
And what it really is.
Yeah, I had to appreciate it. I was like, okay, I have to be happy that I'm like getting to do this and like experience it. My girlfriend.
It is a gift. It is a privilege.
Such a gift to travel.
That time.
Oh my gosh, I met so many cool friends. I still have friends that I met when I was, you know, in Central and South America, and it's just like, love it. But to your point of like not feeling Spanish enough, like, oh, so much. I mean, there are times where, you know, it's just all the little things. Like, is your hair dark enough? Is it long enough? Or is it super curly enough?
Exactly.
You know, like, is the way your body's shaped more Spanish or not?
I was too heavy, and then I was too thin.
Right? And like, you weren't the bottom heavy enough or whatever. Like, all this stuff,
It's stuff that we shouldn't even be thinking about.
Oh my gosh.
Like, life has its own challenges and obstacles.
Yeah.
We don't need to think whether our booty is big enough, whether my skin is dark enough.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about those things. I tried not to hold on to those things and just forge a way forward for myself. And, you know, sometimes I like the deep ones. Are those the stories that I choose to tell? It was an experience, and I learned a lot from it. I want to go deeper.
So you're doing now. Are you able to talk about the new film Intentional? I saw that. Is that coming?
Not really. And yes, it's a show.
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute culty comedy. Let's just say a 30-minute culty comedy. We're meant to be really. Very, very taciturn about that show.
That's fun.
But it's
well,
really
maybe
fun.
Hopefully, you know, this is going to air during Hispanic Heritage Month. So maybe if you have an announcement, we'll get to link it too, so everyone can learn more about all the projects.
Series.
Yeah.
It's a lot of women production, all women production, and one man. He's a good one, good egg. But it's been a lot of fun. We shot the pilot. We're in rewrites right now. We are hoping to self-fund so that we can hold on to the IP and sell it as a whole, as a whole project, shoot out like 3 to 5 seasons. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when you think about things like that, are you thinking about the opportunity to invest in this project and then and make money?
I invest in every single thing that I do. Oh, absolutely.
Who taught you how to do that?
I mean, nobody taught me.
Like, when did you be like, oh, I got it. That's a part of the game.
Again, it's that necessity and build the door. It's kind of like, if the funds and the resources aren't there, I'm going to find a way to make it happen.
But not everybody's like that. Like not everybody says, oh, I could probably figure this out. Like, I could probably make something happen.
I think that's what you're very resourceful too, and I can feel that and see that with you. And it's really like a function of leaving home early and having to find your way in the world and really not being parented like
all the time,
shown, and not having a momager in this business, which is the difficult, most challenging business, competitive, cutthroat. I had no idea. I was so, my naivete. My sort of gullible nature really served me for a long time because I had no idea.
Really? Like in a good way? Like it protected you?
I think it protected me. I mean, I just was like, I can do anything all the time.
Yeah.
And so I would just jump in. And then later I'm like, why are they so mad? What do you mean? Who's mad? Why are you mad?
What did
I do? I was just...
I thought you were going to jump in too. Like, I didn't know.
Play with us in the sandbox. Like, I'm just over here, wanting to tell great stories. Really, it's a function of wanting to hire all my friends. My greatest passion is to give work to artists. Like, the thing that I want to do is really serve artists, underserved artists who haven't been seen, who've been in, the Screen Actors Guild for 10 plus years, who've been working and chipping away at this business and haven't gotten the acknowledgement, haven't been seen, haven't been supported. Like, that's a big, project for me. That's what I'm taking on. And when I get my platform, that's what I want to do. I want to bring it to the government level. There should be funding for artists. Something like a matching dollar for dollar, like 401k. Something where parents feel good about their kids going into the arts because they know that they can set themselves up and have stability.
Have a retirement. This is beautiful, and I love that we're getting into this because, quite frankly, this is something that we and I have been thinking about a lot. There's a lot of things that we're doing that we're not fully talking about yet. Right. But one of them is this idea around what does financial health look like for people who don't have W-2s?
Right.
Because they don't have a pay stub, all of a sudden they're not, lending worthy.
Yes.
And it's just, it's this whole thing of, they're still making so much. It's very, very affordable for companies, obviously, at that point. But there has to be also this understanding of, yes, not everybody wants to be an employee, but at the same time, everybody wants to have that same respect. And you'll probably keep them a lot longer and have longer relationships if you're thinking about certain things that you can't do with a W-2.
That's right.
That's
right.
And a lot of actors, they're pretty much 1099s for the most part, right?
That's right. I mean, not all. I mean,
but some
W-2 for every show you're on your W-2. But then the smart thing to do is to be a 1099 and have your corporation or have your LLC or go that route.
If you can set it up for retirement, though.
That's right.
Right? So then it's like, what about those people?
I know. I'm not sure about how we're going to do it yet.
Yeah.
I just know that my intention is there to get loud about it. These conversations are what's going to help us figure out what the puzzle pieces are that makes it so, you're working, that you can invest in yourself and that there is a matching fund for artistry. Yeah. And other places in the world really take care of artists. There's artist housing, affordable housing for artists.
We have that in Nashville.
Really?
We have a really cool spot.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nowhere here. We don't have that in LA.
Yeah. Shout out Freeman
Really?
Love.
Where? What area?
In downtown. In like a nice. It's like right off downtown. So right on the water.
What am I doing here? You just talked me into it.
I will say that you can.
Tell me
very
about it.
much
What's the neighborhood? Tell me.
So it's right downtown. There's a really nice right downtown. There's a really nice smoothie shop. There's a cute coffee shop, Pinewood Social, E-Rose and Wellness, the Nashville Nashville Entrepreneur Center is right there.
What's your favorite spot to hang?
In Nashville Soho House right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just got it because it has a gym.
Okay.
So that's really, yeah. It's like, you know, if I have this membership and I have a gym and I have a place to take meetings and like, it's also on the way to work, like it's on the way to our office.
Okay.
And so it's very nice to just be like home, work out at Soho, go back to the office, then go back to Soho, have a dinner meeting, then go home. You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. And everything in Nashville is 20 minutes tops. Like 20 minutes is like far almost.
I love it.
Yeah. Like if you were to drive 30 minutes for your friend back in the day, like that really meant y'all were going to hang out. Probably stay the night, 30 minutes, like 30 minutes. Whereas in LA, everything's an hour.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you're committing to the full day.
Yeah, it is.
Just like
Everything
that.
takes a lot of time. Wait, so what's your favorite borough? Like if
Borough
you were going to live in Nashville, like what little part
I
of the
almost
city?
don't want to answer this question because then it tells like who I am to people from Nashville.
Oh, no. Tell who you are.
Okay, so
Lean
it has
into
to be
it.
like within this, like this, I have to back it up for my folks in Nashville. Like, hear me out, okay? It has to be in the city because I want to be close to stuff. It's like if I wanted to live far out, I might as well live in a jungle. I'm not going to live in the country.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
That's what I want. What's the far out?
Working through. So it's basically less than 10 minutes. And then it has to still be treesy. Like there has to be like woods within the city. So it has to be a nice area.
Okay.
And then you've got to have close proximity to an interstate, but not too close because then it's gross.
Yes.
So it would have to be like Oak Hill. Oak Hill. Yeah.
Write this down. Remember that for me, Peter? Okay.
Oak Hill. Because you're basically in the mix of everything. You can get everywhere. You don't have to get on an interstate if you don't want to.
I'm excited.
And there's a lot of trees, and it's like very nice lots.
See, that's
one day I will be able to afford a house in Oak Hill.
Okay,
that'll be.
Of course you are.
Yes.
It's sooner than later.
Very
I can feel
much
that for you.
I grew up not even knowing, like, so, and I'm saying the proper word. It's also Green Hills. So it's like in that area, and I didn't even know that part of town existed. Like, had no idea. I went to my college.
That's 10 minutes out?
Never. It was probably like 15, 20 minutes from where I lived because I lived like it was 10 minutes to the interstate, you know what I mean? But when I went there, it was a very, very, very Christian school. Like you had to go to chapel, you had Bible credits.
How was that?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I went to a Christian school from K to 8th. Got kind of asked politely to not come back. I already wasn't coming back, so it was fine.
I love the way you went.
Yeah. We're friends now. It was all good, but like back in the day, went to a public school and then went back to private. So it was almost like a good mix of, you know, making sure that, because I also had like a lot of freedom, which I feel like you had, you know, I created freedom at a very early age for myself and was like, all right, we're going to go like figure this stuff out quickly so we can be investing in movies. I mean, that's how you get to invest in movies, like where you're at, right? Is like you either were put there by someone who like taught you how to do that, or you just like figured it out really quick.
Figure out situation.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so got that, and I love hearing that. And so Oak Hill would be like that's what you're aspiring to.
Yeah.
So close to the city, just 10 minutes out.
Yeah.
Still
you
cheesy.
can run.
Is Nashville? Does it have like Georgia vibes too? Like I love Atlanta because it's a city inside of a forest.
Yep.
So is Nashville?
For sure. I mean, we have definitely in the core downtown, we have less trees than we should.
Okay.
Nashville is very, very political. It's it's a capital of the state as well. And there's a lot of people from out of town. And so it becomes this like, just, it's a power struggle right now because we have this crazy booming tourism industry that's never slowed down. Like literally even when the economy crashed back in like 8 and 10.
Is that because of the country music? What is the big
It was just that we had, it was like our industries were diverse enough to where our housing industry, like our construction industry crumbled, but nothing else did, right? So it was like, it was insulated enough where we were okay, but also people didn't push themselves beyond, like there was a long time where like entrepreneurship wasn't a big deal, and it almost kind of still isn't. Like it's a place where, you know, if you make $30,000, $40,000 a year, you can be okay, you know, up until now, basically, you know, so
people are being pushed.
Yeah. People are now being like, oh crap. Like, how do I stay? You know, how do I, my property taxes are going up and everything's going up. How do I stay? And that's kind of, to your point of creating housing for artists, like we saw we had to do it because it's like we have per square capita, Nashville has the most recording studios in the world. And so when you think about it from that perspective of like, a lot of music comes out of here that you have no idea. Right? Like, you have no idea who wrote what for who. And it could be like some people you don't even realize, you know? It's really cool in that sense. So next time you're in Nashville, you have to come down.
I'm visiting. You spend half your time there.
I spend a lot of time in Nashville.
Okay, that's really good.
Well, I'll get
you
to
got
see you
those
in Nashville
smiles and vibes. And I mean, everyone I meet that's from Nashville, it's nothing but good vibes.
I love it.
All the ladies are like, you got to go there. Like, it's a southern gentleman.
Yeah. Well, cheers to Nashville.
Oh my God, it's
I'll
such a good time with you. You're beautiful. Thank you for doing what you're doing, for being such a powerhouse and such a badass and representing for all the ladies.
Yes, the Latina ladies, the healthy ladies, the ladies.
Yeah.
All the smart ladies. Thank you.